Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time to join. Today, we're going to talk about the new e-filing solution for the DC Superior Courts, which is Odyssey File and Serve. My name is Zephyr Allen, and I work for Tyler Technologies, who is the vendor for the DC Superior Court that will be implementing Odyssey File and Serve. A couple of housekeeping items. If you have questions throughout this presentation, at the very end of the presentation, we will give you contact information by which you can send an email, and we'll respond to your emails directly for any questions that you may have. So again, if you do have questions, the chat feature is not enabled for this presentation, but if you do have questions, please jot them down. And at the end of the presentation, we'll show you an email address. You can send an email to that email address, and we'll respond directly back to your email and answer any questions that you may have about the new e-filing system. So with that being stated, let's get started. Our agenda for today is threefold. We'll do an overview of the e-filing system. We'll talk about the filing mechanics, so essentially how you file and what the filing system looks like. And then we'll talk about a couple of the next steps and how to move forward with the new e-filing system. So just really quickly, let's talk about the overview. And so eFileDCSuperiorCourt.gov is the new e-filing portal for the DC Superior Courts. This solution will serve as a replacement to the existing e-filing solution, which is CaseFileXpress. The new e-filing solution is powered by Tyler Technologies. As I mentioned, that's the company that I work for. We've been in the courts and justice industry for about 25 years, and we focus exclusively on this space. Tyler Technologies is represented across the country in e-filing. So here's a map of where Tyler currently has electronic filing at today. I won't go through this in detail, but at a high level, we have about 2 million registered users that use our e-filing platform across the country. And about 30% of the US population is under some type of a mandate to use our solution, and about 40% of the US population has the ability to use our solution. So as you can see, we're spread pretty far across the country, but what I want to focus on specifically is the state of Maryland. If any of you currently file into the state of Maryland and their e-filing solution, Tyler Technologies is also the vendor in the state of Maryland. So the look and feel that you currently see in the state of Maryland will be very similar to once you start using the Tyler Technologies Odyssey File and Serve solution within the DC Superior Courts. If we talk about how e-filing works at a high level, this is just a really quick diagram of how it works. It's not very specific. We just want to talk about this at a high level. I do want to make sure to point out that the purpose of today's session is not training. We'll provide you end-user training, and we'll provide you access to that later in the presentation, how to access end-user training. But at a high level, in order to electronically file, you as the filer will prepare your document. Just like you do today, you'll prepare your document, and I want to be very specific on this, in a PDF format. So you'll upload, you'll create your document, whether it's a Word or another software solution. You'll save that document as a PDF. Once you prepare that document as a PDF, you'll have the ability to upload that document to File and Serve's filing portal or filing platform. And that filing portal is just a website that you will have the ability to log onto. You don't have to necessarily download any special software to your computer or purchase special hardware. It's just a website that you'll be provided access to that serves as our filing portal. So you'll upload that document to that filing portal. As you see there, it mentions 24/7. That is generally the case. Just like every software, we have periodic maintenance periods and downtimes. Those types of situations are communicated ahead of time. But generally speaking, you'll have the ability to upload the document directly to that filing portal 24/7. Once the document has been uploaded, the filing portal will transmit that document to what we call the EFM, or Electronic Filing Manager. And the EFM is essentially the backbone of the system. It connects the filing portal to the clerk's case management system. And so the filer will prepare that document, and the filing portal will submit that document to the EFM, or the Electronic Filing Manager. And there in the EFM, the clerk's office essentially has two options. Number one, they can accept the filing, Number two, they can reject the filing. So let's talk about the rejection for just a second. If the clerk's office does choose to reject the filing, and there's various reasons they may reject it. Perhaps the fees aren't correct. Maybe the document's not signed. Maybe the document's filed on the wrong case. Whatever the reason may be, if the clerk does reject the filing, we will, the eFiling will automatically send you, the filer, back an email letting you know that the document was rejected. Within that email, there will be a rejection reason. So you can see the exact reason why the clerk's office may have chose to reject that document. And then you'll have the ability to remedy that rejection and then resubmit the document. If you did pay any fees on the rejected filing, the eFiling will automatically drop the hold on those fees, so you will not be charged. That hold may stay on your bank account based off of the specific policies of the bank that you use. So sometimes it's 28 hours, 24 hours, up to 72 hours is generally the case. But the eFiling will automatically drop the hold for any fees charged. You will not be charged for rejected filings. Now, let's move on to the situation that happens the vast majority of the time where the clerk accepts the filing. If the clerk does accept the filing, a couple of different things will happen. The eFiling will send you, the filer, a file stamp copy of the document that was accepted for your records. That file stamp copy will be your proof that the clerk accepted that filing. That file stamp copy will not have a watermark on it, won't have any type of special security on it. You can download that document to your desktop. You can print that document. You can do whatever you want to with that document. That is your official record that document was accepted by the clerk. And again, it will have a file stamp on it. The second thing that the eFiling will do is it'll go ahead and transmit that document to the clerk's case management system. And the case management system will be the permanent system for storage for that document. So previously, as I understand it, your existing eFiling system will store documents on your behalf. That will no longer be the case in File and Serve. The documents will be stored in the case management system, and the clerk will provide you access to those documents in a different format through the case management system. So that's a 30,000-foot view of how the eFiling system works. But at a high level, you as a member of the filing community will submit your document. It'll be transmitted to the clerk. The clerk will accept or reject the document. If they accept the document, we'll send you back a file stamp copy. And then we'll also send that file stamp copy of the document to the clerk's case management system for permanent storage. So if we talk about the eFiling process and how it affects you as a member of the filing community, it's essentially a 5-step process with a one-time outlier step. And that one-time outlier step is just a registration process. So I want to make sure that we're clear on this. You will need to re-register with File and Serve once the solution goes live. Your case filings, your credit card information, your filing history, your documents that are currently in your existing eFiling platform will not transition over to File and Serve. So you will need to re-register in File and Serve in order to start utilizing the system. Just like in your current eFiling system, that registration is a one-time process. So once you register the first time, you never have to register again. So just like I always use the example of Amazon, it's kind of a similar process. So when you register that first time, we're just going to ask you for basic information. We're going to ask you your name, your address, your email address. We're also going to ask you for payment information to cover any fees or court costs that may be associated with your filings. And so again, once you complete that registration stays in the system forever. Also, as a clarifying point, if you are currently electronically filing in the state of Maryland, that registration also will not carry over for DC Superior Courts. You will need to register again because they are two separate systems, two separate databases. So again, your registration from the previous eFiling system will not carry over. Also, if you are eFiling in the state of Maryland, your registration will not carry over, and you will need to register again for the DC Superior Court. So after you complete the registration process, it's essentially a 5-step process, assuming that we're creating a brand new matter. So step 1 is you'll enter the case information. So which department are you filing into, the type of case that you're filing, who the filing attorney is on the case if there is one, and then how you're going to pay for that specific filing. So are you going to use a waiver account where the fees are being waived by the court, or are you going to use a credit card by which you'll pay for any fees associated with that filing? From there, you'll enter the basic party information, so your plaintiff, defendant, or petitioner, respondent, ad litem, guardians, etc. You'll enter that basic party information. Any demographics associated with that party, you'll be able to enter as well. After that, you'll have the ability to enter what we call a filing code. And the filing code is simply the document in which you're filing. So a filing code is the petition, or it is the affidavit, or it is the motion that you're filing. So you'll be able to select the type of document that you're filing, and then you'll be able to upload the actual document on the filing screen. And again, as I mentioned before, that will need to be a PDF document. From there, you'll have the ability to enter what we call e-service or electronic service contacts. And e-service is exactly what it sounds like. It's where the electronic filing system will electronically serve someone else on the case. And so you'll have the ability to enter the judges or the calendars for the judges as electronic service contact. Also, if you know who opposing counsel is, you can go ahead and enter them as an e-service contact as well. Or if you want to electronically serve yourself, and if e-service comes in from someone else for you to automatically be served, you can enter yourself as the e-service contact. And so whenever someone has entered the e-service contact, we track that service information. So you'll have the ability to log into the system and see when we sent the service, who it was sent to, if that service was successful, and you'll have the ability to log directly in and print that information out in the situation that you needed to. From there, the last step is just a review step. Just like if you use the Amazon cart as an example, we provide the exact same functionality where you'll have a screen where you can see all the information that you've entered. You can see the case type that you entered, the parties that you entered, the filing codes you entered, the service contacts that you entered. And if need be, you can go ahead and change that information before you submit it. If everything is correct, you can go ahead and hit submit. And then once you hit submit, we'll generate what we call the envelope number, and we'll send that filing information to the clerk's office for review. And so this is what the clerk's office will see kind of at a high level. I won't go through this in detail, but on the far left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the envelope number 1401. That envelope number is a unique ID that is for every filing that is processed through the system. So if you ever have a question about a filing or a concern, or maybe it's urgent, if you don't have a case number yet, which would be the situation if you're filing a new matter, you can always reference the envelope number, because the clerk has the ability to search by an envelope number and find your specific filing, because that envelope number is a unique database ID. Below that, you can see some basic information about the person who submitted the filing. So they'll see your information, any fees associated with the filing, they'll see below that. They'll be able to see the case type that you selected, the date that you filed it, a couple other items. Then on the right-hand side, they can see the actual document that you filed, and then if there's multiple pages, that they can flip through it. And then at the bottom right-hand corner, they can essentially accept the filing or reject the filing, and they have a few other internal tools. One thing I do want to make sure to point out here, you'll notice it says envelope. An envelope is what we call a grouping of filings. And so within a given envelope, you can have multiple filings. So for example, if you're creating a brand new matter, and within that new matter, you want to file a petition, a motion for jury trial, and an affidavit, that would all fall into one envelope if it's all on the same case. And so I'll mention that again. So an envelope is essentially a grouping of filings, and so it can have one or multiple filings all for the same case record. And so if you're creating a new matter, within that matter, you can say, within that envelope, you can say, I want a petition, a motion, and an affidavit, and all that goes into one envelope when it's delivered to the clerk. And so they'd be able to pull up all three documents from their review screen. Okay, as I mentioned before, at the bottom right-hand corner, they can accept or reject the filing. A few reasons that we typically see for rejected filings are listed here on the screen. A pretty common one is just filed into the incorrect case number. You meant to file in the case number 123, but instead you accidentally filed in the case number 321. If that does happen, the clerk may choose to reject it. Again, is based off of the court's business practices. If the document is filed into the wrong division, again, the clerk may look at it and make the decision to reject that filing. Also, every so often, we'll see a document that's corrupted. So in the process of saving from a Word document to a PDF, every so often they'll become corrupted. If we can't actually read the document, we may reject it. Pretty common reason also is that if the document is scanned in upside down, then the clerk can't see it, and when they pull up the screen, they'll see an actual just white screen as opposed to the actual document. If that happens, they may again choose to reject the filing. So this list certainly isn't exhaustive, but these are just a few common reasons we see for rejections. So if we move on and talk about the actual cost of electronic filing and the impact there, we'll make a quick assumption. So we're just saying, hey, there's $100 flat fee for filing, and certainly we know that the clerk's office fees vary depending on the type of filing that you're sending in. But just for easy math, we just use $100 as an example. So if you're going to pay $100 in court costs, whatever those court cost fees are, they won't change. We're not changing those. They'll remain the same. That's based off of the court's business processes and statutes, etc. So you'll still continue to pay the court costs. From there, the change that you will see is the EFM, or the electronic filing manager fee, is going to be $5 per envelope. So as I mentioned before, an envelope can contain multiple filings within the same matter. And so whether your envelope has one filing or if there's 100 filings within an envelope, that EFM fee is the exact same amount. Again, the envelope can only be associated with one case record, but that EFM fee is going to be the same amount for that grouping of filing. So $5 plus an additional 2.89% for the credit card processing fee. We use Chase to process the payments. And so they charge a 2.89%. So your total cost to file is going to be the $100 plus an additional $5. And we take that $105 and we tack on an additional 2.89%. So your total cost to file in this situation, what I would call a normal filing, is $108.03. And so again, your court costs are remaining the same. The e-filing system isn't changing that. You have your EFM fee of $5 flat rate per envelope, and then an additional 2.89% for credit card processing. And so again, that's what we would call a traditional or normal filing. The pricing model is slightly different for bulk filings. And so if we use the same assumption of $100 for the court costs, the EFM fee will vary depending on the number of filings that you are including and the number of cases that you're filing into. And so if it's between 2 to 25, it's $62.50, all the way up to 76 to 100, it goes up to $250. I do want to make sure to mention that this bulk filing option is optional for you. You don't necessarily have to use it. You can use the traditional filing method, but whenever you go to log in and file, you'll see two options. You'll say you'll file in a normal way, then you'll also have a second option to file bulk filing. And if you do choose to use the bulk filing module, the cost component is a little bit different. But at a high level, bulk filing allows you to file into multiple cases simultaneously. In the traditional filing model, you can only file into one case at a time. Bulk filing allows you to file into multiple matters in a much quicker format. The 2.89% credit card processing fee still applies, and so your total cost to file is going to vary depending on the number of filings or the number of cases, between $167 and $360. Okay. So more information. So we are in the process of finalizing a website that will essentially be the central hub for everything e-filing related. The link to that is at the bottom of your screen. I do want to make sure to emphasize it's not currently live yet. It will be live in the next couple of weeks. But that website is going to be eFileDCSuperiorCourt.gov. I'll say it again, eFileDCSuperiorCourt.gov. And this website, once it's stood up again in the next couple of weeks, will be your central hub for everything e-filing related. And so any news and information related to e-filing will be posted here. Whenever you're ready to start end-user training and learn how to use the system, you'll be able to log onto this website and view the upcoming training opportunities. So we'll have both live and recorded training opportunities available for you. So the live recorded training opportunities are scheduled on a weekly or bi-weekly basis here over the next few weeks. And you'll be able to log on. There will be a Tyler representative leading you through the actual training. At the end of that training, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions about the technical aspects of the system as you see fit. That training is available for both attorneys, legal professionals, so paralegals, et cetera, and pro se litigants. And the training usually takes about an hour. If you are unable to attend any of those live training opportunities, we'll also post recorded training opportunities on that website as well. We also have a frequently asked questions that you'll be able to view for common questions that we've seen through our implementation process. So you'll be able to view those as well. So again, that will be eFileDCSuperiorCourt.gov. Expect that website to be live here in the next few weeks. Okay, so let's talk about next steps. So as I mentioned before, log on to the website. Feel free to go ahead and jot it down now and check back in a couple of weeks once it's up and live. Again, that'll be your central portal for everything e-filing related. From there, as I mentioned before, you'll be able to attend training from that website. The training lasts about an hour or so. A Tyler representative will walk you through how to utilize the system. You'll be able to ask questions to that Tyler representative about how to utilize the e-filing system, and they'll walk you through the process essentially from nuts to bolts. And then register early for that process and that training opportunity so that you have the opportunity to learn the system, become acclimated to it, become comfortable with it prior to the actual go live. All right. And from there, I will turn it over to Ms. Dempsey.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our e-filing information session today. Thank you, Mr. Allen, for that information that you've shared with everyone. So I just want to discuss the differences that you would see with regards to our current CFX system and what we will have in our Odyssey e-filing portal. First, once the system is implemented, and as you know, we have two different phases. Phase one, which is civil division, probate division, the tax division, and then we have the Auditor Master's office joining us in e-filing as well as multi-door division. We will be assigning cases to a calendar and not necessarily to the judge. The judge will be listed as a resource. However, you will your filing that you receive back after it's accepted will indicate the name of that judge so that you will have that name in order to then add the judge to the contact list to receive further notification of your filings. I think Mr. Allen explained the envelopes and how that works. You can actually have more than one document for one case in one envelope. And then we have the bulk filing process if you want to file multiple documents in different cases. For those processes, you must upload your documents individually as a PDF document. You cannot do, I guess, a full attachment of all the documents in one PDF document. We want the documents uploaded individually. Mr. Allen also went over the e-filing price schedule, which is a little different from what we have now. With the Odyssey system, the filer will actually be able to select, whether they have a fee waiver for that case. So that's a little different as well. Filings will only be able to be submitted in PDF format for Odyssey. And so we are asking that you submit your proposed orders to judges in a non-write protected Word format. We will now be utilizing the auto scheduling function for Odyssey for hearings, as opposed to manually scheduling hearings for documents. And so, whereas now you may file something and all of your cases may be scheduled on a certain date or within a certain time frame, the system will be auto scheduling hearings. And hopefully most of you know that we will not be utilizing what we call our cattle call calendar in L&T anymore. We will maintain our block our calendars of scheduling for those hearings. So hopefully we will have some success with the auto scheduling. However, there is an opportunity for you to request a continuance if the date does not work for you. So the e-service functionality, you will get an e-notification after you file your documents and they are accepted. That e-notification will have a link for you to then go into Odyssey and print the documents that you need to serve. This is for your initial filings that require service based on the rules. For subsequent filings, the court will mail those documents or e-serve those documents if the person is registered for e-service. So as far as judicial orders and notices and initial orders, things that you will be receiving from the court, from the judges, they will be transmitted using the e-notification functionality in Odyssey. And again, that will be a link. You will get an email with a link to go into Odyssey to actually see those documents. Document security, really, the clerks are going to be able to change that. And so when we talk about document security, it's, any documents that are sealed. And so the clerks will be able to go in and change that security type if it is not the correct security type. So as I was mentioning, you will receive a link with the a link to access your document in Odyssey. That link actually expires after 90 days. And so you'll still be able to access your document by going into Odyssey, but the link to that document will expire in 90 days. Adding a new party for subsequent filing. So only after the clerk accepts the filing will a new party be able to be added to the case. And so just keep that in mind as you're filing your documents. You can go in and add a new party, after the documents are accepted by the clerk's office. And then if you have a need to remove an attorney within your firm from the eFiling contact list, you would have to contact Title Technology to have that attorney removed from that case. And so I see that there are some questions in the chat, and I'll say that we will look at those questions and respond to those questions as well. However, we would ask that you please email any questions to eocommunications@dcsystem.gov, as you can see on the screen, eocommunications@dcsystem.gov, and we will respond to those emails individually. And we will be putting up facts, FAQs on our website to also help address some of the common questions that we are seeing about e-filing. So with that in mind, I think we are at the end of our time here. I'm going to try to just answer a few of these questions in chat. We didn't have chat available in our first session. Is Odyssey replacing CaseFileXpress? Yes, it is. It will replace CaseFileXpress in phases. And so the first phase, as I mentioned before, will involve mainly our civil divisions, probate, and tax. And so you will continue to use CaseFileXpress for our phase 2 criminal division, family court, and the DV division. You will still need to use CaseFileXpress until they go live with Odyssey. At the point when all of the divisions are in Odyssey, we will no longer be using CaseFileXpress. Yes, calendar assignment, multi-door being a part of that. I can't really answer that. I don't have the details on the business processes at that point, but I do know that multi-door will be a part of Odyssey moving forward. Will previously filed documents still be available on the current system? You will not have access to CaseFileXpress. once we go live with a particular case type. So you would, if you have documents in CFX, and we're checking to see how long those documents will be available, you may want to download them on a file in a system. And we will post on the website the information regarding how long those documents will be available in CFX. Will a rejected filing, when correctly filed, be filed as of the date of the first filing and not be filed late? That does not happen in Maryland, but does happen in CaseFileXpress in DC now. Yeah, Mr. Allen.
I can't actually see the chat. Could you repeat the question? I took it as a question for me, but I didn't.
Yeah, I think it's a business process question for the courts, but it's, will a rejected filing, when correctly filed, be filed as of the date of the first filing and not be filed late? That does not happen in Maryland, but does happen with CaseFileXpress in DC now. I am going to say that I'm not going to answer that question because I can't remember the specific business process of whether we changed that or not for some technical reason in Odyssey. However, we will get back to you or post this response in our FAQ, and you may find the answer in the training sessions as well. So that's the only, I don't see any, let me just make sure. I know we need to wrap it up here, but yeah, I don't see any other, oh, okay. So, Mr. Allen, I think this is a question, will there be an option for ACH?
No, so it's just credit card or the waiver account if the fees don't apply to the person who's filing. And by credit cards, that's an all-encompassing statement. So credit or debit cards are both viable.
So there are a number of messages coming through, and I know that we won't have time to answer them all. However, as I indicated, we will definitely respond. It would be helpful if you would send these questions to us via email to make sure that we capture everything. Can only the specific person register themselves to receive e-service?
No, so a person can register on behalf of another person. So if it's a legal aid or assistant, they can register their attorney to receive electronic service. So it doesn't have to be the specific person registering for themselves.
Right. So will pleadings currently in CaseFileXpress be transferred to the new system? Yes, we have. We will be transferring all documents that are in our current system into Odyssey. And so you should see those documents in Odyssey as a part of our conversion. What's the main difference between the old and new system? We're hoping that Odyssey is more user-friendly. And hopefully some of you who are using the system now finds that to be the case. And I just went over, some of the technical or functionality differences that you'll see. And Mr. Cordone, we definitely have your question about batch filing. I think I explained it a little bit today, and we will be following up with you specifically, if we haven't done so already, about your email. And I think it's being discussed in the L&T working group as well. So with that, we're going to stop. I think we were supposed to end at 5. I'm not sure the time, or maybe was it till 5:30? Mr. Allen, do you know if we were scheduled to 5 or 5:30?
I am not certain.
Let me just see if I can double check. Oh, can a person have more than one account while I double check on the time?
They can. An account is tied to that person's email address. So theoretically, if you have multiple email addresses, you could create multiple accounts in the system. But your filings won't be related to each other. They'll be under the respective registration. So
we do have some more time. So will the training also be offered in person at the court? Unfortunately, we are not offering in-person training. All of the training will be conducted virtually. I think I answered that one. Person, yes. So I think I've answered. Let's see what else we have. Did you say how an admin or legal assistant can receive notifications? Mr. Allen, you have a response for that one?
Yeah, so they can, if the admin or legal assistant is doing the actual filing on behalf of their attorney, then by default, the solution will automatically send them notification. Now, if the attorney is doing the filing and they want their assistant to receive notification, they can just be added to the electronic service contact list, and then the system will automatically send them service of the filings.
Right. Thank you, Jeanette Irwin, for letting us know it's till 5:30. I think we just ended early last time because we weren't able to see any chats. Is there a specific browser that is recommended?
Most of the generally available browsers will work. So Chrome will work fine. Firefox will work fine. Microsoft Edge will work fine. Those are the primary browsers that you shouldn't have any problems with. There's a few smaller companies out there where if you're having issues, you could call us and double check. But the major browsers will all work just fine.
What will the hours be for technical assistance? Will that be performed by Tyler Technologies or Superior Court staff?
For technical assistance, that will be Tyler Technologies. The hours, I don't have them in front of me, but I believe they're 7 to 7 Central Time. And then from 8 to 12, I believe, don't quote me on this, on Saturdays. But I believe, I know for certain Monday through Friday is 7 to 7 Central Time, excluding major holidays.
And we'll post that information on our website as well. Can you clarify the e-service capabilities of the platform? What constitutes a process document that must be printed from Odyssey? So I'll just say that, a process document really is a document that has been accepted by the clerk and not rejected. And so once that document is accepted by the clerk, you will receive notification that it's been actually filed and file stamped. And accept it, and then you can serve that document if it's an initial filing. If it's a subsequent filing, the clerk's office will be transmitting that filing by e-notification if the recipient is registered, or by mail if it's required by the rules. Did you have anything to add to that one, Mr. Allen?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Will we be logging into the site each time with a user PW like with CFX?
Yes, and so your username will be the email address that you choose to register with, and then you'll have a password, whatever you want your password to be. And so every time you go to log on, you'll need to enter that information to access the system.
So there's a question, how and when do I register for this new system? I missed the beginning. We will definitely be sharing out this the recording of this session on the website. And I think, because I have the chat up, I can't see, but Mr. Allen, you want to repeat what that, where we're going to have our training sessions for registration and all of the information that we have?
Yes, let me scroll back here. So this will be the website. It's not quite up yet. It should be up here in the next couple of weeks, but it's eFileDCSuperiorCourt.gov. From there, you'll be able to register for the system. From there, you'll be able to receive live training as well as training documentation, in addition to watching recorded training. So that will be the website that you'll access to gain access to the system as well as receive training.
So, Mr. Allen, I don't know if you answered this one already, but will it work with the Apple Safari browser?
Yes, and it is mobile friendly.
When will the system go live for civil cases? At this time, the go live date for the civil cases, meaning probate, civil, and tax division, is August 22nd. Let's see. Oh, if you have two CaseFileXpress logins, will the cases in both be transferred? So irrespective of CaseFileXpress, whatever is in our case management system now, it will transfer into Odyssey. But if you have documents, and I'm not really clear about how CaseFileXpress works, but I think you can have like documents stored in their system. You might need to download those, and we will let you know the time frame for getting that done and post that on our website. And so the other question is, how about Apple, Mr. Allen, as far as its compatibility?
Yes, you can use Apple products.
Will there be any changes to the public docket or the ability to view or download documents by the public for all cases, not just our own? So we will be maintaining a public portal for anyone to go on that portal and view images as well as the docket. We will have still some limitations because we have to protect personal identifying information that is on our documents. And so there will be information on our website to explain what is available on the portal and what isn't available on the portal. Is this basically the same filing system as used in the Maryland Circuit Courts? So, Mr. Allen, you want to
Yes,
respond?
it's the exact same system. I'll make sure to point out Maryland has a custom landlord tenant process that's a little bit different, but it is the same system. It's the same company that Maryland is using.
Okay, let's see. I think, let me hit new messages. This is a little different for me, so. Okay. At my firm, I receive and reconcile CFX's invoices monthly and charge specific clients for their filings. Will Odyssey's billing be similar? I currently receive the invoices via email.
No, it will be different. And so there won't be invoices in the sense where CFX maybe, and I don't know their system specifically, but I think they cover the charge for to the end of the month, and then you pay them for your charges for the month. With this system, it's pay to play. So as soon as you file, you're going to pay at that time.
If your email is used in Maryland, will you need a different email address in DC?
You can use the same email address, but you will have to register again for DC Superior Court.
Will there be firm accounts or just individual accounts?
Both. You have the option to register as a firm user, and then you can manage additional users within your account underneath the firm, or if you want to register as an individual, you'll have that option as well.
Okay. When do you expect criminal and family division case types to be transferred to Odyssey? So we're not expecting to go live with those case types, including DV, until sometime in October or thereafter. We haven't really firmed up our date for that, but we will announce that as soon as we can. Why are contractors expected to put all the party names in this system? This was done by the probate clerk of the court. I think you're asking if the filer has to put in the party names in the case. Yes, the filer is being required to put in all of the parties' name. Perhaps the probate division was doing something a little different now, but we have spent a lot of time trying to standardize our processes across the Superior Court. And so one of those is that for the filer to enter the party's name and information into the system. What is the largest size for individual PDF files? Is there a total size allowed for all filings in an envelope?
Yes, I believe it is 35 megabytes for the envelope.
Can you register on the site now? I think you answered that before, but if you want to reiterate.
Yeah, not quite yet. It'll be just here in the next few weeks.
So I think we answered this question, but can a user have multiple user profiles? I am an attorney who does pro bono work with different legal services organizations. On CFX, I have a different login for each organization I work with, but use the same email address for those.
So yes, you can have different user profiles. No, you cannot use the same email address for those. The registration and filing service based off of the email address. And so essentially your username is your email address. So you can't use the same email address, but you can use different email addresses to create multiple user profiles.
Whom should we contact if we have a question about the correct filing code to use for a given document, Tyler or the clerk's office?
That would be the clerk's office. Tyler's support is limited to the technical aspects of the system. How do I file? How do I log in? What you should file, we would defer to the clerk's office.
So you said you can do multiple filings in an envelope. Does that mean that separate unrelated filings within the same case can be filed? Yes, that's exactly what that means. So will the Tyler notification indicate that a document has been rejected, or will you have to look at the document like you do in Maryland? Is this going to be an improved system? I'm not sure. I don't know how to respond to that because I'm not familiar with Maryland's system.
When the clerk rejects the document, the EFM will send you an email letting you know. The email will say filing number 123 was rejected, and I'm paraphrasing. And then in that email, you'll be able to see the rejection reason and comments that the clerk entered. So you'll receive an email automatically.
So you'll be able to find the video on the website page that Mr. Allen showed a few minutes ago. You can access it through the court's website. So is Odyssey and the filing platform two different sites like in Maryland?
Yes, so Odyssey is actually a suite of products. And so I think when Clerk Dempson refers to Odyssey, she may be referring to the case management system. But the suite of Odyssey also includes the e-filing system as well. So if you think of Microsoft, there's Word, there's Excel, there's PowerPoint. It's a very similar situation where Odyssey is a suite. But when we say Odyssey here, we're referring to the case management system versus the e-filing system.
Can I register a firm credit card that can be defaulted on the system to pay for the filings?
Yes, you can. So if you sign in as a firm and you have multiple users within your firm, then all users that are in your firm can use that specific credit card that you've selected or that you've entered, excuse me.
In order to access filings in a case, will we need a separate website like in Maryland? Maryland Case Record Search versus Odyssey.
So I think that's probably a question around the portal itself, Ms. Dempson. But yes, I believe that is going to be the case.
Mr. Cordone responds that his understanding is that Maryland bulk LT cases are filed through an approved third-party vendor, and that's something that we're talking about now, Mr. Cordone, and not Tyler. So we will definitely be in touch about that option. Thank you for raising that with us. Okay, what did I do? Let's see, we're gonna check for a couple of more, and then can a firm administrator register the attorneys?
Yes, they can.
Is there a separate portal to see the entire case file as there is in Maryland?
I think that's the same question that was just asked around. I think that the answer to that is probably the Odyssey portal.
In probate, we have to send everything to the interested parties. Many of these people will only have mailing addresses. Do the filings get sent to all of those people, or do we have to mail those separately? So if we don't have their email addresses in the system and they're not on the contact list to receive e-service, then we will be required to mail that documents to them. We are trying to work hard on trying to collect or find ways to collect as many emails as we have and have people registered for service. However, we recognize that we're still going to have to mail out some documents at some point. In some cases, I'll say. When you file a motion with attachments, is this one filing or multiple filings under the Odyssey system? I noticed that in Maryland cases, a memorandum with attachments generates several different notices instead of just one email containing the complete filing.
So I'd have to go back and double check, and this is probably for the FAQs, but I think we turned attachments off at the request of the court. I'd have to verify that, but nevertheless, if there are attachments, then they are all included within the same envelope.
Okay, so we're gonna see. If an attorney in our firm is served with a filing by another party, can the document also be served on our firm's administrator without the opposing party having to select our firm's administrator as well?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Attorney in our firm is served with a filing by another party. I guess they're asking if they can have multiple people in the firm receiving service on a document without the filing party actually selecting all of the different people.
Yes, you could do that. A way to go about that is instead of entering a specific person's email address as a service contact, you could use the firm email address as a service contact, and then assuming that's a distribution list, and it can go to the appropriate parties. Or you could add multiple individuals as a service contact. It doesn't just have to be one person.
Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. We work in the government where people go in and out. Is it possible to have a default email address automatically attached to all of our filings?
You would have to use that default at registration, but yes, you could absolutely do that.
Will a motion, memorandum, and exhibits be filed as one PDF or separate PDFs for each? I'm going to punt on this one and ask that you wait for the business processes and the training. I think the divisions may be, I know we're having discussions about this, right? So if the memorandum and exhibit is a part of that motion, whether that should be one PDF or not. So we will definitely be in touch about a response for that. What is the expected filing fee? The filing fee for the courts have not changed. However, Mr. Allen shared previously what the fees are for eFiling, and you will be able to access this information on our website. Okay. I don't see any new questions, and I think I covered all of them, hopefully. If not, if you want to put something back in the Q&A that I did not ask or respond to, you can please do that now while we wrap up. Let's see. Okay. Follow up on the service to admins of attorneys. In case file, the registration for an attorney can include an admin as a delegate. Whenever a party serves that attorney, their delegates receive service, often without the knowledge at filing of the other parties. Serving the firm in a 100+ attorney firm would not be a substitute for that feature.
I'm not sure if there was a question or a comment.
I think they were trying to clarify the question that you didn't really understand. And so, Ms. Evans, I'm going to ask that you send us an email so that we can really think about a response and make sure that we're responding appropriately to your question. Thank you. Let's see. Will a firm need to assign a firm? Will a firm need to assign a firm administrator to approve attorneys who sign up for the new filing system?
Yes, there will need to be a firm administrator.
Will you support other e-filing portals or e-filing service providers like in Maryland? I don't understand that question. Maybe Mr. Allen, are you familiar with that?
That's along the same conversation with landlord tenant and
Okay.
the third party EFSP.
Third party vendor. Okay. So we're in discussion about that now. We'll definitely share and post something about that. So this is really not considered a training session. This is an information session, one of the last of two. The training sessions will take place soon, definitely before go live. And we will post the opportunity to register for those training sessions on our website. And you can also, you don't have to do a live session. You can actually listen to a recording of a training as well. Can you please address what will happen with the current cases again? So everything that's in our current case management system will be transferred into Odyssey, right? However, I think what I was trying to indicate is that if you have something stored in CFX, and I'm not sure if that's even the case or possible or functionality, you might want to make sure that those documents are stored somewhere. I don't know if you have documents in CFX that the courts wouldn't have in their case management system. So I'm just saying that what's in our case management system today will be in Odyssey. Can you please address, okay, an envelope can include filings from different cases. No, an envelope includes multiple filings from the same case. However, a bulk filing includes, can have different, can include different cases, filings for different cases. Will all notifications regarding information sessions and upcoming training sessions be automatically sent to the CaseFileXpress user, or will we have to just check? Mine is cut off. I think you're asking, or will we have to check the website? I'm not sure how we were planning to share the training session dates. Mr. Allen, do you know? I know we're going to put them on the website, but
they're going to, once we have the website up and live, there's a link on the website that says training. And then once you go to that training link, you'll be able to see, and there'll be multiple dates listed for live training. You'll be able to register for whichever one fits your calendar.
And I know the court sent out a blast email for these information sessions, so we may do that as well, just to notify you that, you know, the dates are up on the website and you can go and register. We'll try to communicate as much as we can about eFiling. We understand that this is change for everybody, including the court and the court staff. And we just ask for your patience as we implement our new case management system. And with that being the case, we are going to wrap it up. When I file a new case, how is the summons completed and issued for service? Right. And so I think I mentioned that before. This will be the last question I'll respond to. But I think I mentioned before, so you will get a notification, e-notification, which will have a link, and you would then have to go to the Odyssey, log into Odyssey, print those documents, and actually serve those documents for the summons, and that's initial filings, right? Because the rule requires you to serve it a certain way. If it's a rule, if the court is required to serve the documents, we will do just that as well. But we have to go into Odyssey and actually print those documents. There will not be a transmission back that you see now of those documents that you receive now of those documents that have been accepted and stamped and ready for service. So with that, it is now 5:29. Once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for all of the questions, really good questions. And again, just please, you know, visit our website. We'll have as much information up there as possible. And you can always send us an email to the email address that we provided thus far. So thank you. Have a good evening.